Alright, hello everybody, Friendly Red here, and welcome to Red's Radar. These videos will be dedicated to upcoming game releases for a month, specifically ones that are, well, on my radar. These are games that I plan to pick up and play on release, or just games I'm at the very least interested in playing at some point in the near future. Of course, game releases are always subject to change, and there could always be new or unannounced games that end up releasing that I can't cover here. Heck, there's probably going to be a ton of cool games we know nothing about yet shown and announced at the upcoming III Initiative presentation early on in this month. Regardless, I want to try and get these videos out as soon as a new month begins, and I think there's enough here to warrant a pretty decent discussion. Without further delay, let's begin. Kicking things off right as the new month begins, on April 1st, 2024, we have Half-Life 3. Okay, for real though, the first notable release for April 2024 are the console versions of Freedom Planet 2. This is a follow-up to the Sonic fan game turned original creation, and I've only heard good things about these games. Personally, I've yet to play both the original and its sequel, which originally released on PC back in 2022, but they are, shall I say, on my radar, and it's only a good thing that it's finally coming to more platforms. Freedom Planet 2 will be releasing on Thursday, April 4th for PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series consoles, and Nintendo Switch. Next up is probably the April release I'm most looking forward to, and that is none other than Gigantic Rampage Edition. Gigantic is a hybrid MOBA / third-person shooter that originally released back in 2017, and it was a great time. Boasting a super unique style and diverse cast of characters, at the time it was easily one of my favorite multiplayer games on the market. Sadly, the game never really gained a wide following and the support it needed to stay online, and development was quickly halted in early 2018 with the servers going down in summer of 2018, exactly a year from the game's initial release. And that, seemingly, was the end for Gigantic, until now. Late last year, the game's servers were put back online for a brief time for select players, and back in February of 2024, it was confirmed that the game would indeed be getting a full-on revival in the form of Gigantic Rampage Edition. Unlike the original release, this time the game will cost a small fee to play, though the benefit of this being no more microtransactions and hopefully a decent amount of revenue for the game to go on longer than the original. Store page for the new version also mentions some of the new features for Rampage Edition, including enhanced gameplay, customization, cross-platform play, continued post-launch support. Seriously, I can't wait to jump back into Gigantic, and I really hope the game finds more success this time around. It really deserves it. Gigantic Rampage Edition will be releasing on Tuesday, April 9th for PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series consoles, and PC. Skipping ahead to the middle of the month, the next notable release is Final Fantasy XVI: The Rising Tide. This is the second and presumably final piece of DLC for the game, and looks to be the more meaty of the two DLCs planned. This story expansion will be focusing on one of the more notable missing summons / icons from Final Fantasy XVI, that being Leviathan. Now, from what I recall, Leviathan was only briefly mentioned in the base game a few times, but his absence was certainly a mystery that I and many players I'm sure want to know more about, and thankfully, we don't have to wait much longer. Final Fantasy XVI is still currently exclusive to PlayStation 5, and this DLC will be releasing for it on Thursday, April 18th. We do know that a PC version of FF16 is currently in the works, and hopefully that'll launch with all the already released patches and DLC once it arrives. Now, I actually almost forgot about this one, and I did hesitate to include it since it won't be a full release, but also on April 18th is the early access launch of No Rest for the Wicked. This is the latest game by the devs behind the Ori titles, and much like those games, this one is quite the looker. Unlike the Ori games though, this game is dark, mature, brutal, gritty. The list of adjectives goes on. While the Ori games were 2D platformers / Metroidvanias, No Rest for the Wicked is an isometric action RPG. A damn fine looking one at that. I don't want to spend too long on this one, as again, it isn't a full release, but I still wanted to give it a mention as I do think the game looks quite promising, and I will for sure be participating in its early access period. And who knows, perhaps an initial impressions video will follow? Only time will tell. On to the end of April, and on Friday the 26th, we have quite a big day of releases. First up to discuss for this day is Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba Sweep the Board. Truth be told, I actually only recently learned of this game, and it is probably the furthest thing I could think of when Demon Slayer video game comes to mind, as this looks to basically be Mario Party, but with Demon Slayer. It sounds weird, I know, but looking at the trailer, I honestly think it could be decent fun. I mean, it's a party game, so it's kind of in a different league compared to basically every other game discussed here, and Demon Slayer, while popular, isn't as general audience appealing like, say, Mario is. Regardless, I think it looks like it could provide a good time, and I wouldn't mind trying it myself with some friends. Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba Sweep the Board will be releasing on Friday, April 26th, release exclusively on Nintendo Switch. Secondly, for the 26th, we have Sandland. Man, this one is kind of bittersweet to discuss, as we still only recently lost Akira Toriyama, who created this series. Truthfully, I really don't know much about the source material, although I honestly will watch or read or play anything with Toriyama attached to it. But that's kind of the tricky thing with Sandland. See, not only is Sandland getting a new video game, but also a new anime series as well. I kind of want to check out both, and I suppose the anime is releasing ahead of the game, so look, anyways, we're getting a bit off track here, but needless to say, Sandland is looking to be a very interesting game and anime, and one that I do want to check out, even if I don't exactly know what it is. Sandland will be releasing on Friday, April 26th for PS4, PS5, Xbox Series consoles, and PC. Lastly, for the 26th, we have a big PlayStation exclusive, Stellar Blade. Honestly, while this is on my radar, I'm not too sure I'll be looking into this one right on release, though there is a demo out right now. Should try that and maybe it'll change my mind. The game does look like a solid character action game, and it's not too often we get a lot of stellar releases from that genre. As I mentioned, this one is PlayStation 5 exclusive, and there's a demo out to try if you're interested. The full game will be releasing on Friday, April 26th. And finally, on the last day of April, we have 2 releases to close out the month. Sea of Thieves is up first, coming to PlayStation 5 after having been out on Xbox and PC for a few years. As a live service game though, making it available on as many platforms as possible just really makes sense. And I'm happy more people get to try out this game, as it's really fun. Frankly, I think it may be the best pirate game ever made. Wouldn't you know, it didn't even cost 4 rays to do it. If you've got a hankering for some amazing pirate action, both on land and sea, give this one a go, especially if you've got some crewmates with you. You'll be in for a swashbuckling good time. Sea of Thieves will be releasing for PlayStation 5 on Tuesday, April 30th. And to end it off, we have a remaster of one of the most beloved and celebrated indie games ever, Braid Anniversary Edition. Now, I know of Braid. I've seen Braid. I haven't actually played it, though. With that being said, you can bet I will be checking out this remaster. I've always thought the game looked stunning visually, and gameplay-wise it also seems quite unique. Luckily, more people than ever will be able to finally try out this legendary game, or perhaps revisit it after all these years away from its original release. Braid Anniversary Edition will be releasing for PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series consoles, and Nintendo Switch, PC, Mac, Linux, iOS, and Android. And that is what's on my radar for April of 2024. Going into this video, I thought there wasn't going to be too much to say, as April seemingly wasn't housing any major potential Game of the Year contenders like some of the last 3 months had. And yeah, I do think that this month is for sure not as exciting as the first quarter of 2024 was, but there's still some great stuff here. And I hope I was able to bring to your attention some games that you may not have known about or weren't too interested in. If nothing else, I hope you found my talking about them to be entertaining at the very least. But I think that will do it for this first ever Red's Radar. As always, I do hope you enjoyed. I appreciate your viewership, and thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.